Helping people make money, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I found out that's one of the most important life skills to have.
It's actually the most important skill in life, in my opinion, is problem solving. Because we all gonna have challenges, we're all gonna have obstacles, we're all gonna have problems. And what I learned in my life, bigger the problem that you can solve, bigger the paycheck.
Facts. All right, guys, Marina Worre is here today. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
Yeah, after I saw your studio, I knew I had to have you on.
Oh, thank you so much. It's my great pleasure and honor.
Yeah, you guys are doing something special over there. What was the vision behind building that huge studio?
It was not a big vision behind the studio to begin with. It was just COVID. And as a typical entrepreneur, that's what we do, right? We adapt and try to figure things out. And we typically do a lot of events. Once a year, a big event at MGM Garden Arena, 15,000 people, 18,000 people.
Wow.
And kind of like part of our business model was to pre-sell tickets for the next year event. And we did that in December of 2019, and then COVID hit. And we're sitting here like January, February of 2020 and thinking it's like, okay, it's going to pass, it's not going to last forever. And then March, April, and nothing really is changing. So my husband and I, we realized that something has to change for us. And because we already pre-sold 7,000 tickets and we knew that there is no way we're going to have that event for 7,000 people. So we started thinking, like, what can we do? And the idea of the studio came about. And in a very, very short period of time, I was able to build a studio, put the team together. A lot of things came really, really close. I got the CFO like a day before the show. So that was kind of crazy. But I had an amazing team who helped me to fulfill that vision and make it an absolutely state-of-the-art facility.
Nice. What type of event was it?
It was an educational event my husband and I do for the last 15 years for the entrepreneurs.
Helping people make money, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I found out that's one of the most important life skills to have.
It's actually the most important skill in life, in my opinion, is problem solving. Because we all going to have challenges, we're all going to have obstacles, we're all going to have problems. And what I learned in my life, bigger the problem that you can solve, bigger the paycheck.
Facts. Yeah, you hear Elon say this too.
Yeah.
He's solving going to Mars, so he'll make a couple billion off that probably.
Yep.
He solved electric cars too.
Yep.
Now he's got the biggest electric car company in the world.
Yeah, find the pain point, solve that problem, and you'll never have to worry about money ever again.
Right. What were those first big problems you solved that helped you get the ball rolling?
I mean, with the studio, first of all, find the location, because you guys in the production business, you know that you need good sound effects, or at least the walls and stuff like that. So there is no sound affecting it, because my vision was not just to use it for us in educational events, but also to have concerts there, to have all the different types of events that people can use for the studio for. So I wanted to have a high ceiling, because I wanted to have big walls, big sound, big like grid for the lights and everything else. So finding the space was interesting. And then doing everything during COVID time was another challenge, because everything was closed. The factories were shut down. People were not necessarily working. I ended up buying over 35 miles of cables.
Jeez.
For that space. So I pretty much bought every single piece of cable that you can find in the United States.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, that was me. So in case you were looking for cables, that was me.
Prices were crazy for any type of construction material during COVID.
Yes, and labor. Labor was a big challenge. So
Right.
I was pretty blessed, because I found a team that just ended up finished building the Raider Stadium.
Oh, wow.
So I pretty much took them, the entire group.
That's
and,
the A-team right there. Sounds like you invested a lot in this place.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty expensive place. I put $25 million into it.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Now we got to talk about how you made that.
Yeah. So it was interesting, but the team did an amazing job. So like oftentimes when people come and tour the studio and I start talking about cable management, and it's like, who are you? It's like a girl talks about cable management. So yeah.
Sounds like you're a quick
great job.
learner. You're able to learn pretty on the fly.
Yeah, I think that, I know what I'm capable of. And I also know that surrounding myself with an amazing team, with the A players, that's probably another skill of mine. So, and allowing them to do what they do best, and kind of like staying out of their way, but painting the vision, building the team, that was a really helpful skill that put together that entire project.
All right, guys, shout out to LinkedIn, today's sponsor. As a B2B marketer, you know how noisy the ad space can be. If your message isn't targeted to the right audience, it just disappears into the noise. Luckily, with LinkedIn ads, you could precisely reach the professionals who are more likely to find your ad relevant. With LinkedIn's targeting capabilities, you can reach them by job title, industry, company, and more. Stand out with LinkedIn ads and start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. LinkedIn ads allows you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful environment. You'll have direct access and build relationships with decision makers. There's over 1 billion members on their platform, 180 million senior level executives and 10 million C-level executives. You'll be able to drive results with targeting and measurement tools built specifically for B2B. In technology, LinkedIn generated 2 to 5x higher return on ad spend than other social media platforms. You'll work with a partner who respects the B2B world you operate in. 79% of their content marketers said LinkedIn produces the best results for paid media. Me personally, I've found some great podcast guests, and it's been an incredible platform for finding out new information. Start converting your B2B audience into high quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/social to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/social. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be.
Right. Just knowing your strengths, knowing what to outsource, that
Yeah.
could take you far in life. Yeah, I'm reading Dan Martell's book on this, on how to outsource. And that's
Yeah.
always been my struggle because I'm like a solopreneur most of my career, but you can only get so far on your own.
You know, what I think is like, I love to learn, right? I try to learn and grow every single day, but I also realize that, for example, I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm not going to go to law school for the next 10 years and 10 years of mentorships and stuff like that. So I would rather hire the higher end professional and pay them whatever they need, whatever they charge, so I can get the best healthcare, so I can get the best legal advice, so I can get the best thing I can get for that money. But I don't want to spend my time on that. I would rather learn the skills I'm good at and pour more into my strength than trying to fix my weaknesses. Because a lot of times when I see people spend more time on that, that's where they kind of like, you cannot be everything for everybody. You cannot be successful at everything. So even though I'm kind of a control freak and I want to take care of everything, and I'm challenged with delegating different tasks to my team, I'm learning more and more that I cannot do everything myself. So trusting the professionals, that's another thing that I'm learning and discovering in life. That's very important.
Yeah, just doubling down on what you're good at. How did you find out the skill that you were really good at? I'm still learning, right? I'm still discovering what are those different skills for me, but problem solving is one of them. I learned that I'm really good at building different things, building the house, building the studio, and just finding ways to build those teams of professionals who can help me put the vision into fruition. That's probably one of my highest skill sets. Right. Were you always into entrepreneurship growing up?
Yeah, I started my own business when I was 18 years old.
Nice.
So it was like a little boutique for kids, anything and everything you can possibly imagine from 0 to 14 years old. So that was my entrance to the entrepreneurial journey, even though I'm a banker by education. But thank God I didn't go into banking.
Yeah, there's a limit there, right?
There's a limit there, and I also learned pretty early that I'm unemployable. I tried to kind of like, while I was studying, I went to the internship, I think probably 15, 16 years old, and I learned that I'm not really good at that structure that somebody else puts on me, and I'm not really necessarily best at building somebody else's vision. I want to build my vision. I want to build my own structure. And entrepreneurship was the only way for me to go.
Facts. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't last long at your banking job.
I wouldn't.
So you majored in accounting or something?
Yeah, banking.
Oh, in
finance.
banking. Wow. So you made it all the way through college?
Yep.
Impressive. Most
and
entrepreneurs
build
don't.
my business. It's interesting because what I figured is because I was in college and already running my business, and I came to my class and I was like, okay, what are we learning? And they're just like, oh, we're learning how to open a bank account. I was like, okay, great. And I left, right? And I continued to build my business. And then I came back like a couple of weeks later. I was like, oh, what are we learning? And they're just like, oh, we're learning how to open a bank account. I was like, wait a minute. We were just learning that a couple of weeks ago. And you're still learning that? Let me tell you how to open a bank account because I just did. And that's when it dawned on me that, first of all, I'm coming from the culture of
formal education, a high degree is a must, right? So I cannot even believe I'm saying it at this point in my life, because I have my youngest who just graduated high school and going to college. And I told him, like, babe, I never thought I'm going to tell you that, but if you do not want to go to college, I'm not going to be upset, because you're going to learn all the business skills by doing things, by figuring it out, by like putting those steps forward and taking those actions. That's how you're going to learn. Because when you go to college, and I'm absolutely not against college, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm coming from the culture of the total opposite. But I learned that oftentimes the professors that are teaching are not necessarily professors that did that in their life. So people who were teaching how to open a bank account for 2-3 weeks at a time, and those students most of the time not even listening, it's so much easier. It's like, just go and open a bank account. It's going to take you an hour, and you're going to know exactly what it takes, right? And what I figured that I need to go and get things done, and that's probably going to be the best school for me. So School of Life, that was probably one of the best education I got.
Yeah, especially for business entrepreneurship. You're not going to learn that in textbooks.
Right.
Yeah, but for our parents that were immigrants, education was important.
Yeah. Well, unless you're going to Harvard and, Yale, all those big business schools where you have people who are entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Bezos, who are coming and teaching you on the actual case study and showing you what happened, how you do things. That's when you're going to learn practical skills. But other than that, just learning theory is not necessarily going to help you. So that's what I told my kid. I was like, just, you go have fun, learn how to be independent, learn how to build network, learn how to socialize with people, take care of your laundry and your breakfast, but then come back to me and I'll teach you business.
Right. Speaking of network, you have the most impressive network I've seen in Vegas. How long have you been here?
Not that long. We moved to Vegas 9 years ago.
Wow. Yeah,
and I've been in States for 15 years only. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you and Eric have amassed the biggest network I've seen in Vegas.
Yeah, we have some friends.
I want to learn how you were able to pull that off. Was it just providing value to these guys and they enter your circle from there?
Yeah, it's, building friendships. What's interesting, inside of our business, we have a lot of business acquaintances, right? And not so much friends that we can just talk and be present with each other, and not necessarily, when it's fun to have friends when nobody needs anything from you. But at the same time, everybody want to be in each other's company, and everybody wants to learn from each other. Because of the events that we do and being in the educational sphere, so to speak, we were very blessed to spend some time with A-listers, celebrities, and learn from amazing business builders and the network of people that are, much smarter than me, much more successful than me, much more influential than me. That's the network I want to be in. I don't know if you know that there is a law of average. We are the average of 5 people we're spending most of our time with.
Right.
And one thing that people think oftentimes that being at the top of that 5 is the place you want to be. And that's not true, because if you're at the top, the average going to pull you down.
Right.
We always want to be at the bottom, and that's where I always want to be. I do not want to be the most successful, the most impressive, the most influential person in the room, because if I am, I'm in the wrong room.
Right.
It's going to feed my ego, but it's not going to help my bank account. It's not going to help my mission in life. So I always try to put myself in places where I'm the least impressive person, so I can learn. So I can lean towards those amazing, powerful people and learn from their experiences. Because back to our conversation earlier about the lawyers and the doctors, they already have been down the road of success for much longer than me, or much more successful than me.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend another 10, 15, 20 years learning what they learned during that time period. I want to see if I can get their mentorship, or by earning my place at that table as a peer, still continue to learn from them and educate myself so I can save myself that 10, 15 years of learning curve and do it in a day or 2 or 5 or whatever it might be.
100%. That's why I join masterminds, and people think I'm crazy. I'm in one now that's $72,000 a year, and I'm by far the least successful one there, but I've learned so much.
Well, to give you kind of like a little sticker shock, I paid for one of my mentors for one day $250,000.
Wow.
for one day. So I believe, my husband and I would both believe that mentors are like time machine, right? You can get smarter without being 20 years older or 15 years older or whatever time they took to learn that particular skill set. And also, every successful person I know either failed or made mistakes on that journey. So you're not only saving yourself time, you're also saving yourselves those potential mistakes or potential relationships that it costs you to go through that journey to figuring things out, what's working, what's not working, and how to make things more successful. So every single time I can spend with people, like I said, who can pour into me, business mentors, health mentors, coaches, anything, I'm in. Sign me up.
Yeah. Do you still have the same hunger you did 15 years ago?
I think so. Because, there is a level to the
Yeah.
there is always a next opportunity. There is always a next level to play at the bigger table, to sit at the bigger table and play the bigger game. So, having friends like Tom and Lisa Bellew who playing on a much higher level, it's always fun for me.
Right.
Having friends who like Ed Milet, it's like the list goes on and on and on. Jamie Kern Lima, all these people who are self-made billionaires and achieve great level of success. To me, it's always more fun to lean towards them and learn from them and be that sponge. It's like I believe that we're either growing or we're dying.
Yeah.
The peak of the mountain is actually not a flat surface. It's a peak for a reason. So we're either climbing that mountain or we're sliding down. And I don't want to start sliding down. So I'm going to keep climbing probably till the day I die.
I love that because a lot of people lose a step once they get some money. You know what I mean?
It just comes, on one side it comes with ambition, but I think it's actually deeper than that. It comes with a self-worthiness. Because oftentimes, because we work with a lot of very successful people who are making 7 and 8 figures a year, and one common theme is self-worthiness. They don't believe they're worthy of success that they achieved.
Wow.
And because of that, subconsciously, we sabotage that success with every fiber of our being. We either go into the bad partnerships or bad relationships, or we just spend money on something or invest money into something that we don't necessarily understand. And it happens to the best of us. It happened to me. And sometimes people ask me, it's like, well, you don't have any problems. Like, what kind of problems you have? I was like, my problems have more zeros behind the comma. That's the difference. But you and I and everybody else listening, we have the same problems. It's just the consequences of those problems might be different. Because I'm no longer responsible just for myself. I have a team, I have a staff, I have multiple companies. So I'm responsible for the well-being of those people. I'm responsible for their livelihoods. I'm responsible for the people that are following me and my husband. So, yeah, my responsibilities are much higher, not just on the financial level, but also on the impact level. So it's kind of like something that I think it's important to remember. Like Elon Musk, he has problems and sometimes financial problems, right? It's just more comas, more zeros behind that comma when he was trying to buy Twitter, right? It just no longer in hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. Now it's in billions, right? Because most of his ideas cost more money, right? Going on the moon or into the space, it's not cheap. So it just next level of your development, of your growth and your success requires or builds bigger ambition that requires bigger resources.
Yeah, more money, more problems, right?
Not necessarily more problems, but more things that we can do, and things just cost more, things that we want to do because of the scale.
Yeah, and I see this all the time on social media. People think money can solve all your problems. It could solve a lot of them, I'd say, but not all of them.
Money is a very interesting subject because, in my opinion, money is just, first of all, it's just a piece of paper, right? It's the reflection of the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. More value we bring, more market will reward us with money. But I think that oftentimes if we put all that pressure into that piece of paper and think that that piece of paper can deliver on happiness, on love, on relationships, on health, it can't. Of course, you can buy a best care. Of course, you can buy the best lawyer, the best doctor, best whatever, but you cannot buy relationships and love and happiness. At the end of the day, we just need to decide what that happiness means to me, right? What that love means to me. What the things that I want in love mean to me? One of the definitions of success for me personally is I love to travel the world, do it in style, and do it with people that I love and care about. I don't want to see any more world in the pictures or screensavers or in the postcards. I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to see that beauty. I want to experience that. That's why even though I have social media and I know how important it is, oftentimes I forget, instead of grabbing the camera and doing live stream or something, I'm just embracing and enjoying the moment. And I mean, it's like it goes against all the social media rules.
Yeah.
But for me, I want to be present in the moment instead of kind of like showing like, oh, look at where I am. So it's up to us to decide. And I think that we can have it all and we can be it all. We just often don't have the full definition of what that happiness means to us. Once we define it, awareness is the key. Once we define it, then we can start building and designing our life towards things that you want.
Yeah, I love that so much. Too many people are living for the opinions of other people. It's crazy. I used to live like that.
Because that's the society that we live in, right? The pressure. And think of it, you probably the same way as I am. We were told since we were tiny, tiny little human beings what to do and how to do, what to wear, what to eat, how to brush our teeth, how to do our bed, how to do our homework. So it starts with parents, then it goes to school with our educators, then it goes, if you go to college, then it's college, then we go to the workplace, right? So then it's our boss, do this, do that. And we just kind of like conditioned what is okay, what's not okay. And oftentimes what happens when people who are conditioned to be an employee-minded person now all of a sudden go into the entrepreneurial venture, that's when things get really messed up. Because now all of a sudden you don't have somebody who's going to tell you what to do and how to do things. Now we need to have that inner drive that will push us forward to do things when nobody's watching, to do things when there are no necessary kind of like outside consequences. And that's where the entrepreneurship comes in as a very unique process that requires a lot of self-discipline, self-motivation, that inner drive. So, and that's when, on the other side, the opinion of others forcing us to do things one way or the other. So learning that, oftentimes when people state their opinion, is not necessarily the truth, first of all. Second of all, oftentimes they do not necessarily know who you are, and they just say that because that's what they think, that's their opinion. So I learned pretty early on that I was like, when I was building that, when I had my store, one of the people came into, one of the buyers came into the store, and so she's looking at things. And because I was so passionate about what I was doing, oftentimes I would be on the floor and be like a salesperson. So I would tell people like, look at this, look at that. So I'm selling her whatever she was buying at that time. And she says like, oh, you know what? I know your owner. And she promised me a 20% discount. And I'm looking at her. I was like, wait a minute. First of all, I am the owner. I do not know you. And I didn't promise you anything. So that was kind of like a first little aha for me to realize that people do not know you. And oftentimes they will say things just because they either want to gain something or it gives them significance. And what I realize is, back to the mentors, I want to listen to the feedback of people that I trust. I want to listen to the feedback of people who went ahead of the road that I want to go to. So that's the feedback that I'm interested in. But oftentimes we go to our neighbors, to our family, and asking them for financial advice when they never built a business, when they never accomplished anything. So it's the same thing as asking, a health question of what to eat, somebody who is obese or overweight. Excuse me. That's not going to work. So we just need to be mindful whose opinion we're listening to. And to me, I always tell my students, the best question that you can ask when you're listening for the feedback is, do you want to trade places with that person? And if the answer is no, then just take it or leave it, but don't take it close to the heart and don't start making huge changes because somebody didn't like what you said or what you did. Yeah. As long as you inside, your heart, your soul feels comfortable and knows that you didn't steal from anybody, you didn't hurt anybody, you did your best, that to me, it's good enough. If I can go and sleep at bed every single night knowing that I did my best and I didn't harm anybody, that's already good enough as a base. But then I can add on to it the opinion of people that I trust and I want to trade places with as a constructive feedback.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice, because it's easy to listen to your parents on certain topics, but not everything should be learned from your parents.
And not because they're bad or anything. They just, sometimes they don't know any better, right? Because the world changed so much. You and I in a slightly different age category. So when I was growing up, my parents did not necessarily knew things that I learned through my life. And right now, my 18-year-old, he's so much smarter than me in so many different ways. Because of the technology, because of the development. He pretty much was born with the phone. I had my phone, the first phone, when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just different. So thinking that our parents know all the answers, not necessarily can be the case, even though they want the best for us most of the time. We just need to understand that the base knowledge might be different. And it's okay to listen, but not necessarily take that as a truth and as a kind of like a call to action. I think it's
Absolutely.
smart.
Yeah. I saw you say on another show, it took you several years to rebuild your self-esteem and overcome guilt of being a single mother.
Mm-hmm. It's not so much guilt of being a single mother. It was more of when I was a little girl, my mom and my grandma always told me that I'm smart, I'm powerful, I can achieve everything I want in life. And I was naive enough and I believed that. And then life started happening to me. So at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I started like that, Energizer bunny. I thought that's like, I can do everything. I believed that, honestly. But then I made my mistakes, and then my relationships fell apart. And then I became a single mom. And when I got married for the second time, my husband at the time, I did not know, but he was verbally abusive.
Wow.
So it took me time to realize that things that he was telling me were not necessarily the truth, right? The opinion of other people. So I did not necessarily realize that what was he telling me is not the reality. So when I was told that I'm the worst mother, or I'm not a deserving wife, or our business is falling apart because I'm a bad businesswoman, was not necessarily true. It just, that was the way that he was communicating, or that was his reality, or his self-esteem. So what ended up happening, I lost belief in myself. I lost my confidence. I lost my self-worthiness, because when we repeated for too often the same thing over and over and over, we start believing in it. And that's what I started believing. So I lost that idea that I'm confident, smart, capable, and I can achieve everything I want in life. I lost that belief. And I gathered new belief system that I'm nothing, that I'm nobody, that I'm a bad mom, that I'm a bad wife. And it took me time to, first of all, find my way out of it and rebuild that confidence. So it took me a long time to remember who I was and who I lost belief to be for a season in my life.
And I feel like verbal abuse, whether it's from family or loved one, is pretty common. So what steps did you take to overcome that?
Surround myself with people who are more successful, who believe in me more than I believed in myself at that time, and continue to, pour into me different set of beliefs, and surround myself with different relationships. So I had amazing privilege of being taught by amazing leaders in our world, and that helped tremendously, because garbage in, garbage out, right? So whatever we're feeding our mind, that's what we believe.
Yeah.
And learning how to protect what we're allowing into that computer that is right here is a very important part, in my opinion. So having to spend time with people who believed in me more, who repeated different affirmations, and also seeing the evidence. Evidence played a huge role in building my own confidence, because, when we don't take actions, there is no proof of what we can or cannot do.
Right.
But once we start taking action, even though we make mistakes, even though we fail, even though it's never going to be a smooth ride, taking those actions, learning from them, and figuring out, oh, I guess I'm not that bad. I guess I can do something. I guess I can achieve this. And once in a while, not throwing a huge party and huge celebration for small achievements, but recognizing them, because those little stepping stones gonna be the road that when we look in the past, look back, we're gonna have evidence of like, I guess I can do something. So when somebody's opinion comes to you and somebody tells you, it's like, hey, you're not good enough. You're not, like, who do you think you are, right? It's like, no, I have enough evidence. I know who I am.
Right.
I've done this before. And, bigger accomplishments obviously help you or help me to build that confidence even higher. Building the studio was one of those moments. Even though now I have an amazing asset, I have a great business, the best thing that happened out of that entire process was this girl, because I learned that's like, I can do something really special. I can do something pretty amazing, even though a lot of people said, no way she's going to make it happen. No way she's going to get it done. No way in the timeline that she has or the budget. It ended up costing way more than we planned it to be. But the timeline was insanely tight. And a lot of people said, no way she's going to make it happen. And to me, oftentimes when people don't believe in me, I know that some people kind of like shrink because of that and shy away from it. To me, it's actually fuel to my fire. I'm like, okay, watch me. Yeah. Let me show you what I'm capable of, not just for them, but to myself. And proving myself that I'm made more of, I'm capable of more than other people believed in me was a big deal.
That's a great mindset, because a lot of people fold under pressure, especially in sports. And there's the top 1% athletes, that's where they separate themselves, because they can perform in the last minute of the game.
And that's the reason we have only very, very small percentage of people achieving something of substance, right? It's hard to be an athlete. And there is a very interesting saying, do only what you love. And I do not necessarily believe in that, because here's the thing. All these amazing athletes, if you look at the Olympians, right? It's great to be on that podium and receive that medal. But nobody really looks at the sacrifices they had to make. All this ice bath and all the injuries and all the broken relationships and all the moments of their loved ones and their kids that they had to miss. And big chunks of somebody else's life that they had to kind of like miss because they were in a training camp or competing or traveling or doing whatever they love at the end of the day. But the sacrifices were tremendous. So I feel like right now we live in a culture where everybody loves to glorify the result, but this dismisses completely the road that took them to that glory.
Right.
So the sacrifices that were necessary, the mistakes, the failures, because majority of the people right now are afraid of failure. And I'm just like, why? That's what we're going to do. We're going to fail. Yeah. I mean, it's like fail your way to success faster, because that's how we're going to learn. That's how we're going to get better. Because if you can keep repeating the same mistake over and over, that's an insanity. But if we make a mistake, we learn from it. We know, okay, that doesn't work this way. Let me figure out how that works. And now we a little bit better. Now we're a little bit stronger. Now we're a little bit smarter. And now we can achieve more and accomplish more because we already have that experience, because we already have that evidence of what's possible, but we're also becoming better and better every single time. So instead of wishing that the problems were easier, wish we were better to solve those bigger problems.
Love that. Yeah, the narrative around failure needs to change, because I failed so much, and that was necessary to get to where I am today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like every entrepreneur I know has failed hundreds of times, you know?
And the question is, would you change something? If you had the ability to change all your past failures and mistakes, would you?
Probably not.
Yeah, because like they made you who you are today, right?
Yeah.
Without that, it would not be the Sean you see today.
Exactly.
It would be somebody else. Better, worse, we don't know. Probably not as good as you are today, because those experiences made you who you are. The same thing for me. Oftentimes people are like, well, wouldn't you wish you didn't have all that abusive relationship, or you didn't have all these failures or losses? I was like, no, because this girl that you see today would be completely different. She would not be as strong as she is today. And she probably would not be as passionate of helping other people. So, yeah, I would not change anything. I would just, one advice I would give myself, my younger version, is dream bigger, faster, and give yourself permission to play at the highest level you can possibly play.
I love that, because a lot of people have limiting beliefs. They think having $1 million is enough these days.
No. I have pretty expensive taste, so
yeah, the car you pulled up in looked pretty nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, but where can people find out your next events and what you got going on next?
Right now, I'm going to have the women's event that is happening on June 15th. It's women empowerment. That's what I'm really passionate about. But we have a lot of events that are happening in the studio. So just if people follow me on Instagram, Marina Worre, that's great.
Perfect. We'll link below. Thanks for coming on, Marina.
Thank you so much. My pleasure for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.